Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review. And now, after reviewing one of the most classic films of all time, after reviewing this film, love the film to death, still how I titled the video, classic masterpiece, in which it still is. The film, which is a film that'll never go out of style. Now, moving on to the sequel, The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride. Released, it's a direct-to-video film. Wasn't released in theaters. Although I would not mind if they did release it in theaters. I would love to see it in theaters, you know. But they decided to, release it on direct-to-video, you know. So it was released on direct-to-video in 1998, 4 years after the first film. Most of the original voice cast come back. Matthew Broderick comes back as Simba. Maria, how the last first name is, Kelly comes back as Nala. Nathan Lane as Timon. Ernie Sabella as Pumbaa. Robert Guillaume, how his last name is pronounced, as Rafiki. Probably didn't mention his name as Rafiki in the first review, you know. But so I probably forgot to say his name though. I'm on the voice casting though, but he voiced Rafiki in the first film, and he comes back as Rafiki in the second film. And even James Earl Jones comes back as the voice of Mufasa, the spirit of his spirit in the sky, you know. So it was nice that James Earl Jones came back. He only says only a few lines though in the movie though, but it was nice to see that it was James Earl Jones coming back just to say a couple lines as Mufasa, and not having some other actor replacing his voice, you know. Which it happens, you know. Rowan Atkinson didn't come back as Zazu, you know, sadly though. Which I really did enjoy him as Zazu, you know, but he didn't come back in this one though. It's a guy named Edward Hibbert playing Zazu this time, you know. Which is too bad though, because I like Rowan Atkinson, you know, and he did good as Zazu, you know. And of course you have other new characters as well. Like it takes place after, well, like it's like the end. It was like the ending of the first film, but it's done like a slight bit differently, you know. But it's still the same way, you know, continuing. When Simba and Nala, their cub is born, you know, and named Kiara. You know, they do the same thing, you know, like then, you know, Rafiki raises her up, you know, in front of all the animals, you know. And you see Mufasa's spirit in the sky, you know, looking down on him, you know. And Timon and Pumbaa like oh, what? And at first because they thought Kiara was a he, you know. And like, we're gonna teach them exactly like we taught their father, you know. We're gonna teach them how to eat bugs, you know, and burp, you know. And Rafiki's like, hey, it is a girl. Girl! And they both go, girl! Oi! You know, they fall back, and the title shows up, you know. And Simba, you know, she wants to, you know, teach Kiara, you know, to be more cautious, you know. He's being a little overprotective because, you know, he doesn't want her to get in the danger like he did when he was her age, you know, like in the first film with him and Nala, you know, being chased by the hyenas and all that danger stuff. So he's being a little bit overprotective though, even though he said that he'll be fine going out on her own, but he would have Timon and Pumbaa follow her, you know. And like where Nala was like Nala, it was like, who does she remind you of? He's like, who? She acted like you when she was your age, you know. He's like, precisely, you know. Do you remember the dangers we put ourselves in? And she goes like, you mean the dangers that you put us in, you know? So as she's out on the field, you know, Timon and Pumbaa they get caught, you know, and they want to show her how to eat bugs, you know, like teach her how to eat bugs like they did with Simba, you know. It's like, you gross, you know. And then Timon and Pumbaa, they get distracted by arguing with each other, eating like eating bugs like either slimy or crunchy, you know. And she goes and runs off, and further off, you know, off a little bit off the lands, you know, and she bumps into another younger cub named Kovu. And Kovu first, you know, was being a little cocky, you know, because like, I can take care of myself, but they didn't realize they're both standing. It's like they're walking on the pond, but they didn't realize they're standing on the back of a crocodile, you know. And a bunch of crocodiles start attacking, you know, and they all manage to get away. And Nala wants to play, you know, but like Kovu doesn't know what that is, you know. And then Simba comes in with their other lionesses, and then Kovu's mother, Zira, voiced by Suzanne Pleshette. I forgot what her last name is now. She was a lioness, and some other group of lions, you know, they were exiled or banished, you know, because they followed, you know, they were like a follower of Scar, you know, saying that the green that he should have been a king, you know. So that's why they were banished, you know, because she wants to raise her son to follow in Scar's footsteps, you know. So they both part ways. Back in when the Badlands were the lions were banished, you know. Zira has an older son named Nuka, which he was supposed to be watching Kovu, but he let him run off, you know. And there was another younger lion named Batani. And then when they come back, you know, she puts her son in a rest, you know, and they sing they sing a song about it, you know. What was it? I guess the song is called My Lullaby, I guess it was what it was called, you know. Now, the thing is, though, the songs in the film are not that bad, though, but it's nowhere like near as the become classic songs like in the first film, you know. The songs in this film, especially the score as well, by Hans Zimmer, they are much more memorable, almost pretty much known by everyone who grew up listening to these songs in the score, you know. These are the classic memorable songs and the score as well. The songs in here, they're all right, you know. They're decent, you know, but I just think there's not as like the memorable songs from the first film are here. The songs on the second film are just like a little bit down here, you know. Which is not that too far away, but it's like first film songs are like way up here, but the second film songs are like just a little bit down here, you know. Not all the way down here, like high, medium, and low. I put the songs like about right here, you know, in the medium, 50-50, you know. Well, not 50-50, that's mixed though. But like high, medium, like bad, medium, and you know, and high, you know. First film songs here are right here. The songs in the for this film, right in the middle, you know. They're decent songs, you know. So, moving on. After singing that, time has gone on a little bit. Has passed a little time. Was a little bit has passed on, you know, and sorry, a little tired, you know, but doesn't stop me from doing a review, you know. So time has passed on a little bit and Kiara is now much older, like teenager-wise, you know, and teenager or almost adult-wise, you know. She'll say so she was supposed to like go on her first hunt on her first hunt on her own, you know. But even though she wants her father to promise, you know, she can do this on her own, but of course he breaks that promise. Like I said, he's still being a little overprotective, so he still has Timon and Pumbaa follow her, you know. Um, and then they have Kovu's now more older, and he wants to stick with the plan of planning to kill Simba, you know, and also attempt to also killing Kira as well. So they've had the plan to set the field on fire, you know. Like this is where they Nuka and Batani, you know, they go to like pretty much like almost like cave in the first one where the hyenas were and Scar was singing that song, you know. Because even Nuka mentions, you know, it's like, oh, this place is even creepier since those hyenas ran off, you know. So they plan to so they set the stuff. They get like flaming sticks and they set the whole field on fire, you know, and the fire starts spreading, you know, and Timon and Pumbaa they get caught again, you know, and then the fire starts. They all run away. Kiara tries to run away out of there, but all the flames are moving all around her, you know, so she falls into. Well, she passes out, and then Kovu comes up and rescues her, falls into the water. Then, when she wakes up, you know, she when Kovu says like since when they first met, you know, as cubs, you know, was like, what are you doing, you know? And then she realized that's Kovu, you know. And then Simba shows up and Kira is mad that he broke his promise, you know. And they have this like the law, you know, that since Kiara, you know, Kovu saved Kiara, you know, he should be what was the thing is though what Zazu said, you know, clearly we are in his debt, you know, and you know it says the old debts should be paid, you know. So Simba lets Kovu off and is able to, you know, able to come back home though, but he still wants to keep a close eye on him, you know, because he still doesn't trust him, you know, because it was part of the plan for him to rescue Kiara and get him to get close to Simba and kill him, you know. So when they get back, you know, he sleeps outside, you know. He doesn't want anyone near. Simba doesn't want him anywhere near him and his family. But Kiara offers, you know, tells Kovu to help her, you know, be able to hunt, you know. So they start in the next day, you know. And then the instance like where Simba has a nightmare. When he's sleeping, you know, he has a nightmare, like recreating the scene from the first movie about how his father was hanging on the rocks, you know, before being trampled, you know, before Scar killed him, you know. He has that nightmare of that scene, you know. So he sees his father trying to climb on, and he wants him to grab on though, and then he sees when he falls in, then he sees Scar, you know. But when he falls, you know, but it actually turns out it's Kovu, you know, killing him the same way that he did with what Scar did to his father, you know. And then he wakes up, you know, out of it, you know. So he goes for a drink, and when Kovu is about to, you know, to pounce on him, you know, Kiara interrupts him, and she's ready to go, you know, for her lesson, you know. And instance, you know, that she's telling the teacher lesson that like how she's breathing towards, he can hear her coming, you know, like a mile away, and then Kovu accidentally scares Timon, which they were planning. There was a lot of worms in the ground, you know, but they can't get the bugs because all the birds are eating them, you know. They try to scare them away, you know, it does no good. So they get the idea to have the lions roar for them to scare the birds away, you know. which the scares the birds away. They're as they're running towards, and Hulk turns out the birds have their own little friends. They're sitting on a pack of rhinos, and all the birds are doing, at them, and then they get chased by the rhinos, and they hide in like a little crevice, in the rocks. After that, I'm trying to think what happened next, because, sorry for pausing, let me see here. Well, after all this, we all know that Kiara and Kovu, they like each other, and then of course they have like even Rafiki sees that, and they both like business where they both Rafiki has a song with for both of them, because they fall in love, saying that we are one, like when they look at both their reflections of pie, like half of each of them are together, indicating that they are both as one, But then there's this when they head back, like Vitani, sees that Koba has an opportunity to kill Simba, but he doesn't. So, because since Kobu has feelings for Kiara, he doesn't want to. He feels like this whole thing is wrong. He doesn't want to do the plan no more, But he wants to confess, that's about the whole thing that he's doing though. But before he can do that, Simba wants to have a talk with him alone, but tells him what really happened with Scar, and that he's never heard of the stuff before, but it turns out as they're walking, before I can say anything else more, they get attacked by Ziara and the others, and they give him another chase scene, and Nuka wants to prove himself, that he can do the job himself, to make his mother proud, and one thing leads to another, ends up on this wall or like a dam of a bunch of logs, and Nuka tries to grab him, but a whole bunch of logs fall on him, and Zira, before Nuka dies, and he says, "Sorry, mother, I tried," and then that's it for him, he's dead, and Ziara is very upset, and Simba comes back barely, before he passes out, and Zira smacks Kovu in the face, giving him the exact Scar look, but what Scar had, the exact scar that he had over like vertically across his eye, gives him the exact look, that Scar had, that same Scar look. So they don't want him there no more, saying that he's now weak, and then when he tries to get back, tell him about everything he was wrong on, sorry. Because it was like the same thing, with when Scar blamed Simba for Mufasa's death, having Simba having that same guilt, thinking it was his fault, Now Kovu hasn't had the same thing, because now he feels like the guilt that he got his own brother killed, and it was his fault that his brother got killed, He attempts to he goes back to Pride Rock. He says he wants to forgive everything what has happened, and Simba wants to banish him, and all the animals are agreed to do so, Then there's a song, what was it? That song. Da, 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 da. I forget. It was a song that lays for him on being banished. Kira's upset, and she knows this whole thing is wrong. And when Simba says he's following in Scar's footsteps and he must follow his own, then Kira goes around and says, "You'll never be like Mufasa," So she goes out a back way of Pride Rock, and tries to find him, Like in instance where she goes into look at herself in the water. It only shows her half, but the other half is missing because the other half is Kovu, because both of them are one, But eventually they both find each other, and it shows herself in the water. Same thing. They're both their halves are together. We are one, So then Zira is planning on going a full force attack on Simba and the others, So they're walking towards the Pride Rock, and Simba and all the others, all the other lionesses, and they all meet here, like a battle, like one side of the battlefield, the other side of the battlefield, Then they start attacking each other. Then Kira and Kovu, they see the whole thing. So before Zira and Simba really go at it, they interrupt, standing directly in the middle. And Kira tells Simba, it's like, a wise king once told me, we are one, And I didn't understand it back then, but now I do, And she's saying that all the other lionesses, us, look at them. They are us, We are all one, Basically what she's saying, we are all one, no matter what, But, so, Vitani and all the other lionesses, they all go to Simba's side, and Ziara is all by herself, calling them, cowards or whatever, And it's like, time to put the past behind you, and she says, I'll never let it go, This one's for you, Scar, So, she tries to attack Simba, but Kiara pushes her, and they both go over the cliff, and then the river, all the logs were blocking it, all the water comes rushing in, and Ziara is hanging on the rocks, and Kiara wants to help her, tries to pull her, but doesn't do any much help. She falls in, she gets swept away by the river, Sorry. So now all of them come back to the Pride lands, and Kovu's been Simba accepts Kovu, as they're the next future king and queen, And then Mufasa, looks down at Simba, saying, "Well done, my son. We are one," So yeah, Lion King 2. I would say it's a solid sequel. It is. Yeah, that's how I would put it. I would say it's a solid sequel. Like on the back here it says, by Scott Hedrick, Los Angeles Times Syndicate, a worthy successor to the throne of the most successful animated film of all time. Right there. And even Siskel and Ebert gave the film a thumbs up, saying that it's also a satisfactory sequel to one of the most popular films of all time. So even those a couple of reviews like those saying this is a worthy sequel to the first film, which I do agree. I would say it is a worthy sequel to the first film. It's a good sequel. I would say so, But unfortunately, like they also, despite that, it was ultimately given mixed reviews. Sadly, it has a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes compared to the first film that has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and has an 8.5 on IMDb. I probably think I didn't mention that in my previous my review of this film. It has an 8.5 on IMDb and has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. This film both deserves those ratings. This one, though, sadly has a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is which I think it's a little crap, bull crap, It deserves much more higher than that. But it does have a pretty good solid 6.4 on IMDb. I would say that's a solid enough score for it to put that on. But of course, I would still say I would put it like in the sevens, Not I would not put this I would not put this up in the eights where the first film is, because the first film is worthy enough to deserve an 8.5. But this one, I think, even though it's, like I said, it's solid enough to get a 6.4, I would give this like a 7.0 or a 7.1 to be fair, I think it deserves that, and especially deserves a much more higher rating on Rotten Tomatoes. To me, that's bullcrap. I cannot see this film deserving a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. I cannot see that. I don't buy that. I think that's a little bull. It deserves much more higher than that. I would say even like a 70% Rotten Tomatoes would be satisfying to me, 69% I'll be fine with. At least it'll be like between 69% to at least a 75% Rotten Tomatoes. I would give it that. That's how I would see it, 33% Rotten Tomatoes, I don't buy that at all. I don't see that whatsoever. The cast, the voice cast does a really good job. Matthew Broderick as Simba, once again, he does a great job. Him, trying to be a little overprotective of his daughter because he doesn't want to follow the things that he did when he was a cub, So he's being a little overprotective though, but Matthew Broderick, once again, he does a good job. Moira Kelly as Nala, she was good as well. Kiara, older Kiara, voiced by Neve Campbell, who mostly remember from playing in the Scream films as Cindy, Yeah, that's what I think it was. Its characters. Sydney, yeah. Yes, Sidney Prescott, the lead in all four of the Scream films. So Neve Campbell playing as the voice of the older Kiara, she does good as well. The villain Ziara, decent villain, but not on par what Scar is from the first film, not by a long shot, But the villain Ziara, trying, who was loyal to Scar. Does good, but even though the first one doesn't even mention, which that's a nitpick. The first one doesn't even mention those kind of lionesses being banished, or following, following, Scar, and all that, The first one doesn't mention that though, so this film just automatically shows that there are already lionesses banished, for following Scar, But the villain Ziara, decent villain, and the person who voiced her is Suzanne Pleshette. She was fine, Jason Marsden as the older Kovu was fine. Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella as Timon and Pumbaa, good as well. They still do good, Even in instances where during that last battle, when Timon and Pumbaa, they said, "Come on," but they says like they want to get in on the fight, It's like Timon says, "When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's our motto." And Pumbaa goes, "I thought our motto was Hakuna Matata." Pumbaa, stop living in the past, So yeah, Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella were once again good as both Timon and Pumbaa. Robert Robert Gallum, how his last name pronounced, was once again good as Rafiki. James Earl Jones, it was nice to see him, even though it was only for, you hear him say some sentences for a short time though, but it was nice to see him coming back, at least coming back to voice Mufasa, because James Earl Jones memorable as Mufasa in the first film, so it was nice to they got him to come back, to him voicing Mufasa once again. Only even him just saying a few sentences though, but it was nice, It was nice to hear him playing Mufasa once again. So even though for a short time, James Earl Jones once again does a good job as Mufasa, So I'll give that, the one who Edward Hibbert who voiced Zazu. Rowan Atkinson does a much better job. I wish he would have came back, that's just me though. I wish he would have came back and voiced Zazu. The guy who does him in this film, he was all right, but Rowan Atkinson did a much better job, So then the voice cast they once again, yeah, the voice cast overall does a really good job, especially for the original voice cast, the other new characters like Neve Campbell and such, they all do a good job as well. And the film goes on for about 81 minutes and has a good pace to it, like the first film though. Of course, the original directors of the first one don't come back as it is directed by a different director, by Darrell Rooney. The animation is good, is good, looking, for the good old traditional animated like the first film, Yeah, that's pretty much it, So, and I'm not gonna make this a long review like I did for the first film, because the first film deserved a very long, close to an hour review, because my review was like 56 minutes. For one of my favorite films of all time, especially growing up with, it deserves a long review, So, but this one I'm gonna end it here because I'm not gonna take too long on this film, Otherwise, I'm just be dragging the film along, trying to come up with other stuff about it. So I'm not gonna do that though. But I'll just end it right here. So, The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Just like with the reviews, a couple of those reviews says, especially from Siskel and Neighbor in this one in the back here, I would say it is a worthy sequel to the first film, I would say that. I really do enjoy the film. It's a solid sequel, as I would put it, And for those, yeah, this is also a 2-disc edition as well, The features, for even for disc 1 and disc 2, has some games, stuff, but and also a music video as well, but it doesn't have doesn't show it's not like a commentary or a making of, or the voice of the cast, of the characters. Doesn't have that though, but at least for more than for a 2-disc edition, And then of course it comes to a prequel / almost like a sequel, like a prequel, I guess, The Lion King 1.5, where it shows where it just focuses on the story on Timon, I think it was. Because the front of the cover shows, Timon lifting up Pumbaa, I was not really that interested in that one, Well, I don't have it anyway, but because I saw it once a long time ago on one of the old VHSs, I only saw it once, maybe twice if I can remember though, but I was not that big a fan. I was never interested about it. And it was that long time ago. I forgot what it was all about, So, but I don't think I'm planning on doing a review of that one because it was a sequel or prequel. I think it was like a prequel / parallel. I think of what it was, I think I just wouldn't be interested in that. But I'll just because the second film was good enough, I wasn't interested in the other one, Lion King 1.5, And like I said, I was never interested. I was in those spin-off TV shows as well. Like I saw a couple of episodes in of Timon and Pumbaa, but show from what I remember, they're no longer in the jungle. I think there was in this episode they were in the city. You know, I forget what city it is. You know, but like I think if I remember, they get kicked out of this hotel. You know, I think I would. I'm thinking that I was like, you know, I would just prefer. It's not like seeing them being in a domesticated environment. You know, I just prefer them sticking into the jungle. You know, seeing them seeing them in a city. You know, was like kind of out of place for them. You know, maybe that's because maybe I was not interested because seeing how in a different atmosphere. You know, they were just better off staying in the jungle. You know. If they were in the jungle, I can't remember. But I remember a couple of episodes where they were in the city, you know. Maybe that's because I was not interested. That's why I wasn't interested in the show, you know. But yeah. So that's my review for The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. If anyone still hasn't seen my review of my long ass review, almost an hour long review of the first film, classic masterpiece as following on the title, you know, still is. This one, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, worthy sequel as quoted from some reviews, but worthy, solid sequel as I would put it, you know. So, and it's an enjoyable sequel. So if you haven't seen the first film, try and check out the second film if you haven't seen it, you know. But Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay tuned on the next movie review, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.